Welcome to Conversations with Deborah, a bi-coastal dialogue with myself, Malcolm Berman, and Deborah Manning here exclusively on malcolmpresents.com.
Hey, Malcolm, how are you?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm Deborah Manning, and I'm a native Californian, former news reporter in the Los Angeles market, which I enjoyed. But I did move out of California. I say I escaped California about 5.5 years ago, and I'm now settled down with my husband and a new home, 6 cats, and 28 chickens. So, yeah, it's a farm life here, but boy, we sure love it. We sure love it. How's everything with you, my dear?
Everything is fine. The weather is California beautiful.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for of course, which I do. I'm waiting for the earthquake to come.
Oh,
But then again, I'm positive thinking. It hasn't happened a major one since '94,
that's right. That's right.
or last century, as they say.
So here we're bracing for a heat wave. We have had basically Southern California weather, I'd say for the last 3 weeks, maybe high 70s, low 80s. No humidity, which has been grand. And all of the bad weather, bless the poor people in Louisiana and Texas and Kansas and all of that. They got a lot of the bad weather that we normally, the weather will sweep from the Gulf all the way across the country to find South Carolina. But fortunately, there's been a high, I guess they call it a high, low, whatever it is. And sure enough, it's managed to keep really good weather here. The only problem is that we're bracing for 90 to 98 degree weather that's coming in. So we did the last of our gardening here today, getting everybody ready for the onslaught. The interesting thing here, of course, is we don't have, as unfortunately my native state had, a drought. It's green, green, green here, and we're able to water as much as we need to. So we started watering morning and night, both the front and the backyards. We don't have a lawn. We have all natural flowers and fauna that would be here. And as I say, it's so so different from California. I was there for 60 plus years, and where you had the beautiful golden hills of California, which of course I grew up with. Now we have the green, green, green of the Blue Ridge Mountains, because we're right next to the Eastern Continental Divide, which means it's not as high as the Western Continental Divide. We're only about 2,500 feet, but nonetheless, it's gorgeous here. It truly, truly is.
Yeah, it must be. But Deborah, I think I'm going to put you on pause for a minute. Could you clean your camera? There seems to be a smudge in the center of it. So
hold on here. Look any better?
A little bit, but your hair seems to there.
All right, hold on for just a second here. Let me go get something official, okay?
I'll put you on pause, so don't worry about it. Yeah, we just had a brief pause trying to. There was or as I say in Yiddish, there was schmutz.
The schmutz.
There was schmutz on the camera, but I think we're all taken care of. Anyway, where were we?
Where were we? Oh, well, we were getting ready for our heat wave, and we had a very nasty development that took place. I told you about back in January. We are surrounded by 100-foot oaks, and unfortunately, we had to take one of those oaks down because it kept leaning and leaning and leaning. It turns out it had been infected by termites, and we were doing our cleanup today, getting ready for the heat wave. We were doing, of course, massive amounts of watering, and we happened to go ahead and sprinkle water the old tree stump, and doggone it, every billion termites decided to come out. So it was not pleasant. So we're getting a huge bill to get termites taken care of. Of course, our house here is in 1948, older than I am, thank heavens, but a 1948 bungalow here, just north of Greenville, downtown. So you got to keep on top of things like that, because I'll tell you, termites, they hold hands. Of course, in California, where I was a broker, we always hoped that the termites would continue holding hands, otherwise the houses will all fall down. Right. But it's a little different. So anyway. Go ahead.
Well, here, before, when we sell the house, we have to termite proof it, but not proof it, but have the termite people, like every once in a while, as you're driving, you see these big canvas covers over the house.
Yep. They don't require it here. And we knew that we were going to be taking a chance. Of course, we bought the house sight unseen 5.5 years ago, thanks to Zillow. And of course, we did all of our research online to find out if there was really a business base here and if it was someplace that we really wanted to move. And sure enough, even the Wall Street Journal says that Greenville, South Carolina is one in the top 10 places to move for people like you and me. So you're certainly invited, Malcolm, any of our viewers, perhaps.
Well, in another 5 years, the problem is you're going to have traffic jams there because everybody's going to go over to Greenville.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's already starting. Unfortunately, so. But I'm most interested. The big news that, of course, in California today, which also very much concerns me, and it's something that you and I broached on your walk first thing this morning. There are attacks on people of the Jewish faith by Palestinian followers, apparently, or at least people who purport to be followers of the Palestinian persuasion. Of course, Israel and Hamas have agreed to a ceasefire today, which is, thank heavens for that. Hamas lobbed over 4,000 missiles, and Israel, of course, is trying to defend itself. And doggone it, if we didn't see some of the representatives in the House confront President Biden. I think Ms. Tlaib did, and gave him a dressing down about Israel and the Palestinians and what have you. So I'm a bit concerned at this point. I don't think that we need to have anti-Semitism at this point. We have enough anti-Caucasian. You don't need to have an anti-Jewish sentiment. I'm a little worried about you because apparently there was a gentleman who was chased by individuals in an automobile and nearly run down. He was coming home from a synagogue. Is that correct? Is that close to you?
Well, I believe, but I don't know if people look at me and say, you're Jewish. I mean, I wear a Star of David. Let's see if you can see that. I wear my Star of David, which I've worn for many a year.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And I'm, I'll be proud to wear it. I won't take it off. But I have a feeling the person who, they only showed it from the waist up, but I think he was like the ultra-Orthodox for two reasons. Number one, which is very obvious because they have the long beards and the hats and they're wearing in black. But he also said, he was running home to, I think he said 7 or 8 kids, and they don't believe in any birth control. So if they're married 8 years, they have 8 kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's sort of, they're obvious. And he was walking to temple, which again, on the Sabbath, you can't drive. So most of the Orthodox Jews find homes near their temple, near where the synagogue is, because they walk to and from on Saturday and Sunday. And,
well, I am concerned about the villainization of Jews, but much less also Israel. We need to support Israel, and I understand the tussle. I'm not an expert as far as that's concerned, but I do believe that something needs to be done to make sure that Israel is safe, and frankly, that the Jews are safe. There's no reason for these types of attacks, and we keep seeing more and more of them. I mean, Antifa has completely taken over Portland, has completely taken over Seattle. Oh, by the way, that was my husband.
Yeah, I saw fish. But I don't know if Antifa is anti-Semitic. Hi, fish.
Well, Antifa is anti-everything.
Yeah, move over
and
here.
You know what? It's not just the
If you want to talk, you got to come closer to the computer.
Okay. So
Linda, let's see, you can see yourself.
There
you go.
Israel. I mean, Israel goes, the Middle East goes. It's gone. Israel is the only hope that the Americans have for any Middle East situation.
Well,
What do you think?
I don't know if it's the only hope. I think well,
Saudi Arabia?
Saudi Arabia, if, again, there's more, I believe in the benevolent dictatorship. So if the king would become more benevolent,
Yes.
and he would give more, and he'd give more equal rights, it can be saved. And,
Well,
and Egypt also.
Well, Egypt was the one who actually bargained this peace,
Right.
this ceasefire. I know that President Biden is claiming the fact that he did it, but in fact, Egypt did. And I must,
yeah.
Unfortunately, that in fact, if he claims credit for it, when in fact the diplomats in Egypt did it, that's not being friendly. Everybody complained about the prior administration not being friendly enough with our allies. That is certainly not being friendly, claiming the Middle East ceasefire by Biden. In fact, it didn't happen for Biden.
I haven't heard that, he's claimed it. I've heard where he's tried to bring the forces together. And I think it's a whole group of people that did the ceasefire. I don't think it was Biden. I don't think it was Egypt. It was a whole group of people doing it.
Well, I do know that Egypt was one of the lead on this.
Yeah,
and you got to give
right.
credit where credit is due.
Right, and he did. As far as I know, the news story that I heard was, they were working with Egypt, and they were all talking.
Well, as I say, I'm most concerned about your particular situation, you being in Los Angeles. Yes, dear.
5 days ceasefire. That's going to be it. If it lasts 5 days, I will be stunned.
Well,
yeah, I don't think it's going to last that long. It's going to blow up, but it will end. But I don't know if it's going to end, with this time around. But there's it's funny because there's a separation between also being Jewish and being Israeli and being pro-Israel. Lots of things that Israel does that I don't approve of. I don't approve of them trying to claim, the West Bank.
Mm-hmm.
I think there has to be a way of Palestinians to have their own country.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily think that Jerusalem should be the capital.
Well, I do think
I think Jerusalem should be a shared city.
Well, I do think that the Abraham Accords, which the prior administration with President Trump, along with Saudi Arabia and with the
United Arab Emirates.
I think that was a good start, and I certainly hope that President Biden doesn't not throw out the Abraham Accords just because it was associated with Trump. My concern as an independent voter is that it seems to be anything that smells of Trump, he is immediately getting rid of, and that's really of concern to me. I get very concerned with the ultra left and the progressives running this presidency.
Well, I was concerned with the ultra right running the other presidency.
Yeah, but are you happy with the first 100 days? I posted something on Facebook, and I know you weren't very pleased with it, but it was all facts as to precisely what had happened. Consumer confidence is now the worst it's been since about 10 years. We have inflation that is roaring at this point right now. Unfortunately, we don't any longer have the Keystone pipeline, and yet President Biden went ahead and okayed the pipeline that the Russians want to do to bring natural gas and oil into Germany. I don't get it. I don't understand why there seems to be an America second when it was America first, but it's always now it seems to be America second.
Actually, I haven't heard about I'm not familiar with the Russian pipeline.
Bringing you'll hear about it. Germany. You'll hear about it.
But the thing,
sanctions.
I mean, I'm in full agreement with doing away for the pipeline that we did, because again, you're talking about old world technology.
Well,
and
we do
and a lot of the and from what I heard, a lot of the jobs that the pipeline had were Canadian jobs. Were done in Canada. Weren't here.
Second, well, I think the point being that they feel as though that the pipeline is going to be the safest and the most environmentally friendly of any of the transports, be it versus a truck or rail, that the pipeline, in fact, is far more environmentally friendly than is any of those particular. Of course, we have some problems because once again, we're just coming out of the Colonial Pipeline hacking that took place. And in fact, I guess the president of the Colonial Pipeline is going to have to explain why he paid $4.5 million in Bitcoin to the
Except the Bitcoin market went down the tube.
I know.
So they might try to hack it again. And then I think probably it was probably the cheapest way of doing things.
Might have been.
Of not because it costs more per day than the 4 million dollars that he spent.
Well, I'll tell you, it reminded me once again of the gas price situations back in 1973 when I was trying to get my education started with a junior college. That's all I could afford at the time. And I had an old car that only got 8 miles to the gallon. And I could not afford to move up next to college. I had to go ahead and commute, which was about a 25-mile commute. And I got to tell you, I remember the good old days of gas at 25 and 35 cents a gallon, and it suddenly went up to 75, and you couldn't even get gasoline. Here, last week, just before the gas pipeline, actually, it was just after the gas pipeline went down, that we went up to our normal place to get gasoline. All they had left, there was no unleaded, there was only premium gasoline. Fortunately, they kept it at the unleaded price and the regular price. But that's all that was here, and they're still closed. So fortunately, we have a full tank. So
well, I think we have to have a major push to do away with fossil fuel. It's not going to be pleasant. There are going to be people that prices are going to be raised and people are going to be unemployed before it kicks in. But you can't do a small start of it. You can't say, oh, we'll do a little bit at a time, because we've neglected it for so many years that the world is going crazy. Again, the fires out here, the hurricanes back east, the tornadoes. This is all caused by the climate change. This is all caused by the warming of the oceans.
Well, there's definitely some changes in the climate, but of course these changes have been going on for billions and billions and billions of years. I do think, though, having different rules for China, allowing them to be able to pollute more than all of the combined nations in the world, allowing them to pollute for the next 10 or 15 years, seems a little short-sighted when we have to go ahead and suffer by having these rigorous rules and regulations where China does not.
Well, China will suffer from its own thing, but okay, so eventually we'll all die. The world will end. It happened with the dinosaurs. It happened with the different ages. It happened during the Ice Age.
Don't tell me there was climate change. Oh, yes, there was. The dinosaurs had climate change.
Well, the dinosaurs, they even thought, I'm not sure if they know exactly what it was, but it's also that the meteor might have hit. And, been catastrophe. One good meteor and we're dead.
That's true. That's true.
So what the hell are you worried about? No,
I'm not. I'm not.
But the way things are, we have more control of things. But again, the evil thing is a fossil fuel, and we have to do away with it. And it's not going to be easy. And I think what Biden has is his changes, his plans. Cost billions of dollars, but we have to do it. And I think eventually we'll be the strong country, and we'll be whoever controls, the means of alternate energy, whether it be solar, whether it be windmill. They're going to be controlling, the earth.
And right now, solar is pretty much controlled by China.
Well, it might be. So that's where we have to work. So if China does it and save the world, China is a capitalistic society. It
is not.
It is.
I'm sorry, Malcolm. It is not.
The rule is socialism, communism, but the economy is capitalism.
No, it's not. Not when the military controls the source and the method. Ask the president of Alibaba. He had some a criticism of the Chinese government. And what did they do? They socked him away for, I mean,
Well,
that's.
well, check some of the mogul medias here, and the
Mhm.
government is trying to shut up.
Well, I'll tell you,
The Mark
it's
Zuckerbergs of the world, or the Bezos, but I always forget his name, or
Jeff Bezos.
Elon Musk, and
Well, you realize that, remember, the post that you saw that I had listed,
yeah,
the number of accomplishments from the Biden administration the last 100 days plus. That particular post, which I took a picture of, has mysteriously disappeared. I find it find it fascinating in terms of the ongoing censorship by social media. I didn't say anything that was detrimental. I was simply quoting facts, the facts, but it wasn't apparently along the lines that Facebook wanted it to be. I find that very dangerous. I think the lack of free speech. I think this cancel culture. I think the woke culture. I do believe at this point right now there are a number of individuals that voted for Biden strictly because they didn't like Trump. They're beginning to realize, holy cow, what have we done? We
uh,
simply wanted to get rid of Trump. We didn't want to go ahead and completely flush America down the toilet, which is in fact appears to be some
well,
very destructive things that are going on with the Biden administration. It's very concerning to me as an independent.
I don't see that he's anti-U.S., that he's anti what that's going to flush the America, U.S. down the tubes. I think right now people, foreign people, are thinking better of us that Trump is not in there. I think as far as diplomatic relationships, we're showing that we're willing to talk. We're not the bully on the street. Do it my way or don't do it anyway.
Well, we've had a war breakout, which we did not with the prior administration. We had a good economy, which at this point right now is starting to fail us. We're looking at inflation rates above 4, possibly to 6%. The feds are now saying they may have to go ahead and tighten, which means that mortgage rates will go up. Gasoline rates, I know, because we're right here, our gasoline rates have gone up over $1 in the last 2 to 3 weeks. So as far as helping middle class people, I'm just not seeing it. And of course, we're being threatened with the fact that we're going to have increased taxes. We will see increased taxes, whether it comes directly from the IRS or if we're seeing increased taxes in food. For example, we can't get pork chops here anymore. We're having difficulty getting chicken, of all things. Many of the, for example, cucumbers, we can't get cucumbers anymore.
Well,
Very.
a lot of that has been caused by the pandemic, and
Mhm.
we're first getting out of it. So you have to give that time to equalize itself. The gas that went up in the last 2 weeks was basically because of the pipeline.
It's been continuing to go on up, and that was even prior to the pipeline.
But not as fast as it
I
was
have
because of the
to,
pipeline.
I
But then
have to.
again, I'm not even driving now, so I don't have a car.
And another little nasty little situation with electric cars. Did you realize that the insurance costs for electric cars are going to double and triple? The reason is because if you are repairing an electric car, the parts are double and triple what it is for a gasoline powered automobile. Now, I'll give you that we probably won't have to worry about it. We'll be dead by that time, by the time that all of the cars go electric. But the other issue, of course, is with electricity. How do you get electricity? I do believe it's from natural gas, which is in fact going to be outlawed because it's considered to be a fossil fuel. So we're going to get it through how? Wind power?
Well, as I said, yeah, wind power.
Maybe fish power. Maybe we can harness fish or something. You know, maybe the migration of fish.
Dam power. The migration of fish. No, I thought fish was coming in.
This is Gracie. Hi, Grace. Hello, girl. Hello, girl.
You know something? I think sometimes I think that the problems of the world is so overbearing that we ain't going to be able to fix it. And that
Well,
maybe we are headed towards destruction.
I hope not.
Maybe it's
Um,
inevitable.
I hope not. The American experiment, I hope, is here to stay. Why does everybody want to come to America? Because of the opportunities, because of the chances of bettering yourself. You
Right.
know, if any other country, we could have never moved from California across the country, basically landing here with 50 bucks in our pocket to start a brand new life. It would have been impossible. You certainly couldn't do that even in France, for example. You can't do things like that. Germany, you can't do that, much less any of the communistic countries. So it's a beautiful country. It's a country of opportunity, and I just hope that it stays that way. It needs.
I agree with you. I agree with you. That's why people are coming here.
And we don't need to be changing it to make it progressive and woke and all of those various
Well,
things.
I'm not sure what progressive and woke mean. It means letting people in from other countries. It's easing our immigration law. It's being, not as judgmental. Is not. It's. I think I don't know in the South Carolina, was it South Carolina or Texas where they just changed the abortion law.
In Texas, Texas, and I don't remember. There's another state, Alabama, Louisiana, possibly.
I think no abortion after 6 weeks or 15 weeks.
No. They're talking about if there's a detectable heartbeat, which would indicate there was a human being rather than just cells. If there's a detectable heartbeat, they're saying that I'm sorry, you have a human being in there, and abortion is not a keystone for me in particular. I think it needs to stay with states' rights. And I know this sounds
well.
I don't want to see Roe v. Wade necessarily changed. I would not like to see Planned Parenthood continue to get taxpayer dollars, or they also got the PPP loans to individual Planned Parenthoods. I think that it should be supported by member support the way National Public Radio is, or public broadcasting.
Yeah, but that's also supported by federal funds.
And I think that should be taken, federal funds should be taken away from that as well. It should be supported.
But if you don't believe in abortion, shouldn't there be more funding for education?
I would love to have funding for education, but I certainly would not like to be told, have students told that because you're white, that you're the oppressor, and that because you're a black or brown, that you are the oppressed.
But what does that have to do with birth control information?
Unfortunately, it's the education that seems to be going on, thanks to the teachers' unions that seem to be at this point right now wanting to push this critical race theory. And it divides the country. We need to, as individuals, look at individuals based on their actions, as Martin Luther King talked about, not the color of your skin, but the content of your character.
Right.
And that's what it's all about.
I mean that's true, but if you look at the way some people are acting and some of the legislation they're going through, take for instance our representatives now, who say there was no January 3rd, January 6th was. There was no riot. There was nothing wrong with it. It was just like people trying to visit the Capitol.
Well, you and I have had a long discussion about this, and I said you need to go ahead and prosecute those people that cross the threshold. I do understand, however, that many of those individuals are being held in. And maybe you can confirm this for me, but I've been reading a couple of news sources that say they're being held in solitary confinement. Excuse me.
Well, I don't think anybody should be held in solitary confinement because that's unnatural punishment.
Unnatural. And I understand, are there still the barbed wire fences around the Capitol? There's still National Guard around the Capitol?
Well, that I don't know. But until they have to find it, but they have to find out, there has to be a commission set up to find out exactly what happened and who is behind it.
Well, I think we already know who was behind it.
Who?
Who do you think was behind it?
Donald Trump.
No.
Antifa.
No, you're talking about anarchists that took advantage of it. And
Anarchists, right.
unfortunately, Donald Trump let his temper get away from him. And I know I'll be condemned by all of my Trump supporting friends, but he let his temper get away from him. And he unfortunately opened up the door so that you could have insurgents go in there and take
Right.
advantage and supposedly now blame him for it. Well, a person lost their lives. And for example, the police officer, they
Right.
said that someone had hit him over the head with a fire extinguisher. That was incorrect. And I have not yet to see, except on one single news station, that in fact, the officer, the poor man, died of a stroke. He was not hit in the head. He died of a natural stroke.
So you want a commission set up to get the real facts out.
I don't think that a commission, I mean, at this point right now, the people who are on the commission are all partisans. They're all Democrats. And once again, I want to have fairness on this.
Well, there's no commission yet.
Well, there will be,
That's
and you know
supposed to be
it's
set
gonna be
up.
all Democrats.
Not necessarily.
Well-
What do you think about the vote counting in Arizona?
I think we just need to stand back and wait until the audit is completed. Being a forensic auditor myself, with my late husband, Tom, it takes time to do it, and you check and double check. I do find it interesting that Dominion does not want to give any of the passwords to get into the routers and what have you. A forensic audit requires that. You need to be able to see the pathway of the votes, et cetera, et cetera.
Well,
There's
what do you think about the company that's doing it?
Well, I think there's 4 companies that are doing it. You told me there was only one. No, there were 4 companies.
There was one, as far as I know.
No. There's 4. And the reason you do the 4 is you've got to be checking the checkers, and you double check the double check the double checks. So for example, when you're doing a forensic audit and you're setting up a system, you have somebody who's doing the initial checking, and then you have someone else who's doing a checking after that, because you've got to make sure that there isn't any collusion when someone is doing that first audit.
Well, I haven't heard the what was the company? Something Ninja.
Yeah, Cyber Ninja.
Cyber Ninja seems to be the only company that they're talking about. And as far as I read, is that company is controlled by someone who's a Trumper, who's feels that Trump was cheated out of the election, and that he's doing it, and they have absolutely no experience doing it.
Right, but there are 4 companies that are doing it.
Which other companies are there?
For something called the SyncU Core, something or other, and I'll find the other companies for you.
Find it. Let us know on the next show, because as far as I know, there was only one company doing it, and that company
that would be completely, utterly foolish to do that.
Right.
You've got to check on the checkers.
Right, and as far as I hear, even the Republicans in Arizona say this is ridiculous. They're looking for watermarks that say bamboo on the paper, because they claim that the votes came in from China. You've heard that one?
No, I don't listen. I gave up listening to MSNBC a couple of weeks ago. It's just too.
Well, I gave up, but have you heard that news station?
What's that?
What is it? Something Network News. But anyway, it's to the right of Fox. It's to the right of One American Network.
Terrific. So we just need another partisan news network.
Wow. I mean, I look at it and I go, shh. And it's one of the announcers is one of the commentators is what's the first White House press secretary under Trump?
Sean Spicer.
Yeah, Sean Spicer. You listen to that one. Wow. Anyway, do you believe our half hour is up?
No, I don't.
Our half hour is up.
I hope you think that we're getting into some interesting discussions. I think that we are. We have differences of opinion, but once again, we need to come to agreements and to compromise. And I do wish, and I do hope that the Biden administration decides to bring in the Republican lawmakers so that they can also participate, because keep in mind, 74 to 78 million Americans voted for the Republicans.
Right, but they didn't vote for Trump. They voted for the Republicans.
They voted for the Republicans, and you've got to include the Republicans. Otherwise, you have what do you have? You call a dictatorship. That's what it's called.
Right, you have a Trump administration. I'll
Nope,
speak-
you have a Biden dictatorship.
which wouldn't be bad. I believe in a benevolent dictatorship.
Oh, please. No, you
Anyway,
don't.
I'll speak to you next week.
All right, my dear.
Okay,
Best to
feel
your
good.
family.
Okay, so survive the heat wave.
Oh, I certainly will. You too,
Oh, by
Jerry.
the way, the trick was, I know in LA, find a ice skating rink.
Oh, there used to be one in Anaheim because as a kid, I used to ice skate.
Right, but find one around you that the kids ice skate. And when it really gets hot at home, go to the ice skating rink and bring your winter coat.
Oh, God.
I used to do that when the boys were skating
Uh,
in Van Nuys. Anyway, be cool.
will do.
Say
Thanks,
goodbye to
Amy.
fish. Bye.
All righty. Bye-bye.